In one of my videos, I showed you how to build a live P&L dashboard with Claude that updates itself when you drop in new files. And a lot of you asked me the same question after that. Okay, Nicolas, but what else can I actually use this for as a CFO? So today, I will be going through 5 real dashboards that you can actually use and exactly what to type to get each one right on the first try. First, a board KPI scorecard. Second, a cash runway tracker. Third, a budget variance dashboard that flags overspend on its own. Fourth, an AR aging dashboard for collections. And fifth, a scenario tool where you can drag a slider and watch your forecast move live. And on top, I will use each of these examples to teach you a different prompting trick. So you will have a complete toolkit by the end of this video and not just 5 one-off examples. And one rule before we start, it applies to every single prompt in this video. Always tell Claude who the dashboard is for and what decisions it needs to support. Not what data to show, but what question someone is trying to answer when they look at it. Skip that, and even a perfect prompt gives you a dashboard that looks fine, but means nothing. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every week on AI for CFOs, and you don't want to miss what we have coming next. So the first use case is the board KPI scorecard. This is the dashboard you build for your next board meeting with just an Excel file, unformatted, and you will see you will do wonder. So here is the prompt that I'm going to write. So I explain that I'm a CFO, that I want to build an HTML dashboard. I want to answer to one question. Are we on track for the quarter? And that's why I always need my actual data and my budget data. And for my main KPIs, which are the revenue, the gross margin, the EBITDA, and the cash, I will give, of course, the trial balance, but I will also give the details behind. So for example, for revenue, I will give the revenue by products. For the gross margin, I will also have the same details, the gross margin by product. For the EBITDA, I will use the P&L to be able to explain the EBITDA, with a waterfall chart. And for the cash, the same, what are the big cash movements. So like this, I can explain to the board what is happening. So it's very important you give that as details. And then I will explain in my prompt a bit how I want the dashboard to be. Big KPIs at the top, I want the graph under, and then if there is any flag, I want to turn it red. One last thing, I say this needs to work as a 2-minute workthrough because basically I just want that in one snapshot, they understand everything. Notice what I did there. I really explained to Claude the audience and the one question it needs to answer. And also, I was really hard on the layout. So what is the constraint? One screen with no scrolling. That last part matters more than people think because a board dashboard that needs scrolling is not a board dashboard because people don't have time and people often never go under. So that's why keep it simple. Make all of the information in one page as much as you can. And there it is. My dashboard is finished with KPI cards at the top. We have the different graphs. We have also the highlight where we are behind budget or also when we are good in budget. Everything in one screen. That's exactly what I asked for. This is what I will screen share live in the actual meeting. Of course, always verify your numbers. What you can do is ask AI to make an audit for you to make sure that your Excel file and your board presentation is the same. So that one was for a board. The second use case is for a very different audience. It's actually for you to help you watch one number every single week. How much runway do you actually have left? If you are a CFO at a startup or a scale-up, this is probably the dashboard you check more than any other. So for this, you're going to use this prompt. So you explain that you're a CFO, that you track your cash runway, and that you're going to use the bank export and you want to calculate the monthly net burn. You are also going to ask to take in account some exceptions because you might have one big payment and you don't want to have it all the time in your burn rate. Imagine if you just paid a big one-time deposit for your building. It's not going to happen every month. So that's why here you say as well, make sure to make one view with and one view without exceptional amounts. Really important as well is if you have a financing plan where you know that you can also call some cash, you might want to add this into the document. So like this, not only you have your cash from the bank, but you also have your cash call plan or your financing plan. Adding both, then you ask to create the dashboard with the cash balance and also the burn rate trend with and without exceptions. And again, the projection, you want also to see the projection without the exceptions. And inside, you also want to see if you have any financing event, because if you know that in 6 months you are receiving 1 million from financing, then you want to show that here. And again, you add here a notion of flags. You say, okay, if there is any problem, if I'm getting next to 0, please put this big number in red so I see how many months I have left. And the trick in this prompt is that I'm not just asking for a chart of past data. I'm asking Claude to calculate something that doesn't exist in the raw export yet, a projection. But you have to tell it the logic. You remember that I said to forget some of the exceptional amounts, or also to take into account the financing. So that's where it's important to explain your own logic. And there it is, our runway. We see how many months we have with the current burn rate. We also see the exceptions, and we see if we are under or above the 6 months threshold that I set. And the projection line shows exactly when we will hit 0 if nothing changes. And really, this is the one number every founder and CFO actually loses sleep over. And now you have it every time you drop a new bank export or a new financing plan. Really cool, right? And really visual. Before we go to the third dashboard, I want to invite you to my free masterclass happening every Tuesday. So please join this Tuesday if you want to learn how to use AI for finance. It's free, it's for you if you're in finance. Just click the link in the description below. Let's keep going. For the third use case, this one is for all of you who are tired of chasing department's head for explanations every single month. What we are going to build is a budget versus actual by department with automatic overspend flags inside. So you're going to type that you want to review the departmental spend, that you have a file with multiple tabs, that you have the cost by department, the budget and the actuals, and you want a dashboard with one row per department showing the budget, the actual, the variance in percentages, and that you want to sort the table from the worst to the best. Like this, you see always the one that you have to focus at the beginning. You give what you want to be flagged, so either percentages or maybe dollars or euro values, and also you give, like a signal, maybe amber or red or green, and you propose some of the graphs that you need and maybe a button to select the department or the type of cost. So that's it. And now Claude is building that for us. So 2 things to notice here. First, I told Claude exactly how to sort the data with worst overspend appearing first, because that's the order of what we want to focus first. And second, I gave it 3 specific thresholds for red, amber, and green, instead of just saying, flag anything over budget. Because the more precise your thresholds, the less Claude has to guess what counts as a problem for you. And now we can see that marketing has a big problem and is at the top in red, sales is in amber, and everything else is green. That is exactly the conversation starter you want walking into a budget review. And like this, you already know who you need to talk to before the meeting even starts. So number 4 is about money that is owed to you, not spent by you. And if you ever chased a client for an overdue invoice, the next one ready is for you. So this 4th use case is accounts receivable aging for collections. And this is one of the most requested dashboards I get asked about every week. And it's also one of the easiest to get wrong if your prompt is vague. So this is what we are going to use. We are going to explain that we want to manage the collections, so you or your team, and then using all of this export from your ERP, where you have all of the invoice that were sent out and all of the receivables. We want to bucket all of this open invoice into specific age groups. And that's where you give your age groups. So here we explain what are our age groups, and then we want to know how much money are per age groups, but also who are the worst payer, because you want to know who you have to talk to first. And then after, you want to be able to filter and to sort and maybe to have a button based on the age group and to flag your real problems. Last but not least, you want to have a list of actions to start with, because maybe you want to give that to your team, or maybe you want to give that to the sales team so they can call your clients. If in finance, you did everything you could, but you didn't reach out to the client, then you can get the help of sales. And you see, the last line, I want to know who to call first, is doing the real work in this prompt. And you see, when you tell Claude the outcome you need in plain language like that, it shapes the whole dashboard around the decision and not just the numbers. And there we go. You can see the aging buckets ready for review. And right below it, the priority list. You can see this customer here is 125 days overdue. And at the very top, so our priority to call. So that's going to be our Monday morning call sorted out for us automatically. And you can either pass it to your team or take care of it yourself if you know that you have to get back the money really soon. And now the last one of my personal favorite, because it's not a static dashboard at all. It's a tool you actually play with in a planning meeting. So the fifth use case is a scenario and a sensitivity dashboard with live sliders. This is the one you will get asked to build for planning sessions when someone says, what if churn goes up by 2% and everyone just stares at a spreadsheet and doesn't have an answer? So that's why you will need this type of tool. So here's what we are going to write. We explain that we have a scenario planning to build. We explain what are our business model. So here we are a SaaS company. We have this subscription data. We explain the type of products. We explain the assumptions. We also explain that what type of sliders we want. So we want maybe to play on the price, on the growth, on the churn rate. Let's see. And we also explain that we want to see that when we move the slider, that everything is recalculated and redrawn. And even I was really precise here. I said what was full line and what is a dotted lines, because I want basically to still see my base case as a dotted line to have a reminder of what was the initial calculation. You can see that the prompt is different from the other four because I'm not asking for a static view of data that already exists. I'm asking Claude to build a small calculation engine with adjustable inputs. And the base case dotted line is the detail that makes this actually useful in a meeting, because without it, people lose track of what they have changed. So now let's test it. And if I touch slider, yes, my chart is changing, my numbers are moving. So like this, in my meeting, I can show the changes directly to my audience. And instead of having to organize a new meeting to show the new numbers, I can answer everything directly on the spot. And everybody will save time, including yourself, because you don't have to redo a new presentation. You can do everything in the first meeting. I've been to tons of these meetings, and this is the exact conversation finance teams are having in these planning meetings. Except now, everyone can see what is happening when you change the assumptions, and you can stop having multiple meetings. You can do everything on the spot in this meeting. So there you have it, 5 live dashboards from 5 real prompts. But actually, what made the difference between this and a generic result? Let's recap. First, we name the audience and the one decision the dashboard supports. Not what data to show, but what question someone is trying to answer. Second, we give specific threshold instead of a vague instruction, like flag problems. The more precise you are, the less Claude has to guess. Third, we tell Claude the exact logic for anything it needs to calculate, like a runway projection or a slider-driven forecast. Claude will not guess what is your logic. You have to give it to it. Fourth, we set a hard layout constraint when it matters to you. You remember the first one, our board dashboard? We say that we wanted that in one page, and it did it. And fifth, use plain language to describe the actual decision, like I want to know who to call first. You know that it's better than just saying sort by days overdue, because one tells Claude what is the real job to do, and the other one only explains the mechanism or just one component. You see, none of these 5 dashboards needed you to code. You didn't need a BI team to build them. You didn't even need to write a single formula. And that was the point to use Claude to make this dashboard. They look better, they work better. On top, in front of all of your meetings, yourself, you will be the one that has built that, the one that is using that, the one that everybody is impressed by. And that's why I want you to try these 5 dashboards when you are done with this video. Before you go and try them, tell me in the comments which one you will build first, or if there is any other dashboard that you want to build or one that you are stuck with, because like this, I can cover it in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you next time. And remember, robots are coming, so stay human.